when Jesus had that group of 5,000 or more hungry people following him around, and his disciples had only a few pieces of stale bread and a couple pieces of fish with them, what did Jesus do? He put that situation into God's hands, and the next thing you know, wow, there was more than enough food for everyone in that crowd to eat their fill, and there were even baskets of food left over. Or later on, at times the disciples found themselves in situations where they were being called upon to heal the blind and the deaf and the crippled. What did they do? They put those situations into God's hands, and the next thing you know, wow, God's Spirit showed up, and amazing miracles of healing started to take place. Or when the angel Gabriel visited Mary and announced to her that she would become the mother of the Son of God. At first, Mary wondered how that could be possible. But then, when she put that matter into God's hands, the next thing you know, wow, God's Spirit showed up and a miracle took place. But what this passage in Isaiah is saying, though, is that when God's Spirit truly shows up, it shouldn't be just us saying wow. No, the people around us should be saying wow as well. As it says in verse 9 of what we listen to here in Isaiah, when God's Spirit shows up, others on the outside will be saying, wow, look at how God is blessing those people. Wow, look at what God is doing in the midst of those people. And I believe that is what's happening here in our church. I believe that in many different ways we are seeing God's Spirit at work in our midst, because more and more people outside of the church are saying, wow, look at what God is doing at Crafton United Presbyterian Church. If you read the local newspapers, like the Signal Item or the Post-Gazette West, you know that there are news articles about our church all the time. Just this past week, the Post-Gazette had a picture about our youth club program, because it's become such an important ministry to so many children in the area. Or also, just this last week, the Signal Item did a major article along with photographs about our food pantry, because that has become such a major ministry to so many people in the area, serving more than 90 families in just the last month. Or just a few weeks ago, the Tribune Review did a large article about our new tutoring program for students in grades 7 and 8. When I go to Carleton school board meetings to update the board on some of the ministries of our church, like giving backpacks and school supplies and winter coats to area children, many of the directors have said, wow, it's really amazing what your church is doing for children in this area. Or recently, when we were able to help Crafton Elementary School institute some special new learning activities in some of their classes, the principal and the teachers responded by saying, wow, it's really great what you're doing for the students and for the school. Or when I've talked with people who have visited us in worship or who have become members in the last year or so, the primary reason they give for feeling drawn to this church is not because of our pretty sanctuary. It's not because of our good Presbyterian theology. No, people by and large have been feeling drawn to this place because of what they've seen and heard in terms of us reaching out and doing amazing things for people in this area. People are feeling drawn here because they sense, wow, God is up to something here, and I want to be a part of it. As followers of Jesus Christ, we commonly refer to ourselves as Christians. And so to be a Christian means to be someone who's connected to Jesus Christ. But do you know what that word Christ truly means? After all, Christ is not Jesus' last name. No, Christ is a title that means one who has been anointed. And to be anointed means to be someone who God has poured out his Spirit on. To be anointed means to be someone who is filled with God's Holy Spirit. And so if we truly are Christians, if we truly are anointed and filled with the Holy Spirit, then wow sorts of things should be happening in all of our lives. Is wow a word that you would use to describe what God is doing in your life? Is wow a word that you would use to describe your generosity, your commitment to serving other people, your dedication to growing as a disciple of Jesus? If not, if wow isn't a word that you would use, then know that God would love to do something about that.